What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Welcome back to EP09 Bodybuilding. We are currently sitting at 13 days out of the Mr. Olympia competition. I do have some Olympia updates for you guys, but we're going to start this one out today with an update from Michal Krizo. Currently sitting at 4 weeks out of the EVLS Prague Pro. And as we recently found out, Michal Krizo also going to compete at the UK show, which is in 3 weeks. Now, we've seen a lot of changes from Michal Krizo over the last year. He ended up having shoulder surgery, something that he desperately needed to have done for more reasons than just one. Mobility was a big one. His ability to really train to his fullest potential was certainly another. Announcing George Farah being his coach, that was one that was very surprising for the majority of the bodybuilding world. George Farah supposedly being a retired bodybuilding coach, definitely a shock to the bodybuilding world. So as for how things are going with Michal Krizo's current physique, this guy looks like the monster that we've come to expect Michal Krizo to look like. He looks absolutely massive, you guys. Now, conditioning wise, I think that he's right on track. Some of the things that Michal Krizo needed to work on when it comes to the next time he takes the stage. And the reason that he took time off, of course, there's the shoulder surgery. But there was also the fact that Michal Krizo really needed to work on his posing. And that's one thing he's been really concentrating on, working with a posing coach over the last number of months, because one thing was his execution of the poses, but certainly when it just came to him being on stage and getting winded, that was just killing this guy when it came to being on stage. And you can see that it looks like he's still looking like he's sucking a bit of wind right now, you know? I don't know how much Michal Krizo has improved the conditioning or the endurance of his posing up at this point, but although it did take him maybe 5 or 6 poses, I think, until he really did start getting winded, that could be a noted improvement. Will that be enough for him to really show noted improvements on stage when it comes to him controlling that midsection? Because that is the one weakness for Michal Krizo currently. He needed to bring up his back as well, which I think he's actually done. I do want to see more detail from the back when he actually does step on stage. We're not seeing a ton of detail from the back right now. Hamstrings look good. Glutes look like they're dialed in. Could be a lighting thing from this video. But all in all, I think we are going to see a very good version of Michal Krizo. But with so many changes, it is hard to say if we are going to see the best version of Michal Krizo. Time will certainly tell. But like I said, you guys, Michal Krizo, an absolute monster. I mean, without question, saying that his arms here are sitting at about 60-ish centimeters, that is almost 24 inches. I wouldn't be surprised if his arms were over 24 inches at this point. For me, Michal Krizo has the best arms in all of bodybuilding. But Krizo is nothing short of a freak of freaks, there's no question. And I think that he will do very well when it comes to his upcoming shows. We've seen this guy get in condition before, and George Farah, certainly a seasoned veteran, should be able to get this guy on track. What I'm seeing now, it does look good, but I do think that there's still more dialing in to do. But look, do I think Michal Krizo can still make his way back to the Olympia? Absolutely. When it comes to the UK show, I'm quite confident that he will probably take that home, depending on who else may show up after the Olympia, because we know that there's a lot of athletes that could just jump into that show, as well as the EVLS Prague Pro. So we may have to see Krizo compete more than just those 2 shows. We'll see what he ends up doing. You know, he's no stranger to some of these European shows. I'm very confident that he will get his Olympia qualification, and I am quite confident that he will be able to make his way back into the top 10 on the Mr. Olympia stage. You guys let me know what you think about this current version of Michal Krizo. I think that he is looking absolutely monstrous. I think that he is a great addition to the open lineup ever since he came over from the IFBB Elite Pro. And I think this guy still has something to prove. The entire reason that he switched from the IFBB Elite Pro is because, honestly, he was just dominating there. There was nobody that could compete with this guy. It was really not much of a competition for him anymore. So, now standing with the best of the best in the world, can Michal Krizo even improve on what we've seen him do when it comes to stepping on that Olympia stage? You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Now it's time to get into some Olympia updates. Regan Grimes sitting at 13 days out of the Mr. Olympia competition. This picture actually taken at 5 a.m. after a cardio session. Regan is looking to be in very very good shape. But, you know, this is what we typically do see from Regan when it comes to being this far out of the show. He looks extremely impressive in all of his updates. There is not a single update that Regan Grimes can post right now that I don't think the entire bodybuilding world would not turn their heads for and really wonder, where is this guy going to place when it comes to that top 10 at the Olympia? And that's one of the things that I want to talk about in this video.
Dom, my coach, we're doing check-ins every single day. We're right where we need to be. I think he said we're about a week ahead, which is a good spot to be. So we continue the push, go down and get better conditioning. And my biggest thing this year is that I just want to show, you know, the work that I'm putting in and that it's displayed on stage, you know, no matter what the placing is. You know, of course, I'm going for, you know, first call out would be like the absolute best. I just want to get lined up beside these guys, show that I belong there, and, you know, prove that, you know, I really brought it. You know, conditioning wise, aesthetics, size has been added. And I know if I could do that this year, next year is going to be a complete different Regan.
Regan wanting to stand with the best of the best on that Olympia stage. But how would Regan really do in terms of a first call-out situation? We did see Regan post this recently when it came to a back double bicep and a back lat spread. And I got to admit, this is looking very, very good. This is very proportionate. The hamstrings are dialed in. I think he has a little bit more to come when it comes to the glutes dialing in, but you can see the detail really etching in when it comes to the back. He has the X frame, the proportions from top to bottom. There's nothing really missing in this shot from Regan Grimes. This is looking very, very good. Probably the best that I've seen from Regan when it comes to a back double bicep. Now the back lat spread, also a very, very good situation for Regan Grimes. You know, he has the width. You can see that he does have that detail that's coming in. He actually has the thickness in the back that a lot of these guys would be lacking. And that would be the difference of guys that'll make it into that first call out and won't make it into that first call out when it comes to some of these shots. Regan looks like he has it. And those hamstrings, again, you guys, definitely dialing in. So when it comes to a first call out situation for Regan Grimes, okay, we actually did hear from his coach, Dom Super Sliced. That's a first call out back double bicep right there. Almost there, 2 more weeks. Let's keep digging. So what I do want to ask you guys at this point in the video is, do you think this is a first call out back double bicep? I actually think that he could compare fairly well, perhaps in that first call out with this back double bicep. This is mass with class. The back double bicep though, that's only 1 pose. What about Regan's other 7 poses? Are they worthy of making it into the first call out at the Mr. Olympia in 2025? Something's telling me maybe not, but it's easy to write off Regan Grimes because look, this guy has continuously really just kind of let down the fans, and I don't want to sugarcoat that. The fans have felt let down by Regan Grimes. It seems year after year, he hasn't quite nailed it. Bodybuilding fans really do get tired of athletes not showing up to what they expect an athlete to really live up to, okay? Now, honestly, for me, I actually do think that Regan Grimes is really starting to meet a certain standard in bodybuilding. I think he's looking bigger. I think he is looking more dialed in. And I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic when it comes to Regan Grimes, where so many others have written this guy off. And I can understand why, don't get me wrong. But for me, I still just see that Regan Grimes does still have certain things that he can do in bodybuilding. And if he does continue on this path, I do think that there is some sort of an avenue for him to make it into a top call-out situation someday. I don't know when that could be. Maybe some other guys need to retire before he gets to that point. I'm not sure. But I do still think that it is possible. When it comes to the back double bicep, I think that would be a great comparison with some of the top guys out there. But anyways, you guys let me know what you think about this current version of Regan Grimes. And let me know if you think that he can make it to the top callouts in the Olympia, at least someday, not necessarily this year. But let me know where you think he will place when it comes to this Mr. Olympia and the current physique that we're seeing. And then it comes down to Nick Walker posting some insane updates at 13 days out. of the Mr. Olympia. These pictures actually getting about 98,000 likes at the time of posting this video, just under a day from when he actually posted some of these. For the record, Regan Grimes actually getting about 60,000 likes on the picture that he posted. You guys, these are insane numbers. And of course, we're getting close to the Olympia. People are getting excited, and especially when it comes to Nick in particular. But when it comes to Nick Walker, look, get rid of all the hype, get rid of all the noise, get rid of all the momentum, just when it comes to the physique itself. This is an Olympia caliber physique. This is an Olympia winning caliber physique. I think it's hard to deny that. And given the fact that Samson is actually going to come in, now we know for sure Samson is going to come in smaller from what we've seen previously, and Nick going to come in notably bigger, leaning into that freak factor. You know, Nick was told back when it came to that 2023 Arnold Classic, I believe it was, he was just too small when it comes to being the mutant. Bring the freak factor. Well, Nick has leaned right into that, and he has not held back when it comes to really bringing that muscle. So presumably, Nick Walker going to be the biggest guy on that Olympia stage, especially when it comes to that first call-out situation. Nick going to be the biggest, bringing the most muscle. But what about the quality? Samson downsizing in an attempt to bring better quality muscle. Many people saying that Samson could afford to lose some size in order to bring the quality, and that is his best path forward to regaining that Olympia title again. The freak factor, not something that Samson is ever really going to have, because the guy is just too damn aesthetic. And he's leaning into that. That is, I think, his best path forward. For Nick, leaning into the freak factor and showing us just how far he can really take it while still being able to maintain that midsection, like I said, easily his best path forwards. But think about it, when it comes to Hottie, is Hottie really going to show up with notable improvements? I mean, Hottie's physique, many people say, is pretty much maxed out when it comes to muscle mass in particular. What more can Hottie really put on when it comes to muscle? I don't think there's very much. We see this guy very consistent with his conditioning as well. He might be able to get maybe 1% or 2% better when it comes to conditioning, but I don't think that that's going to be as notable of improvements as what we're seeing from Nick, what we're going to see from Samson. Derek, on the other hand, is a serious wild card. And that's the thing about going into this Olympia. I mean, Derek essentially is the only competitor that has not lost a show in this 2025 season. You know, he's already defeated Samson. He's already defeated Nick. It's actually crazy that so many of us are actually counting him out. And I actually did speak with someone that saw Derek in person recently at the IFBB Pro headquarters in Pittsburgh when he made a trip there. It was around 3 weeks ago. Saw him in person. And honestly, this person told me that they think it's pretty much game over. Crazy to say that. Crazy to say when so many people have Derek counted out. Now, we're going to talk about Derek in later videos, okay? So undoubtedly, you can say that Nick is going to be the biggest freak on that stage. But the question is, are the judges going to reward that freak factor? This is what they told him to do, without question. But is it going to be enough when it comes to the overall package? Many people having Nick in their first place predictions at the Olympia. Now, I haven't made my final decision as of yet, because the fact of the matter is, we're going off of updates, okay? And we have to have the ability to not look at this from the hype train or the updates. We have to consider who's going to bring the best overall package on the day, and who are the judges going to reward when it comes to the criteria of bodybuilding. We all need to ask ourselves, will that actually be Nick Walker? And look, as an analyst of the sport, you look from year to year at the improvements. Nick has made unbelievable, undeniable improvements. So I want to know what you guys think about this current version of Nick Walker. Let me know who you guys have when it comes to your top 4 at the Olympia. That top 4, everybody says, is an absolute lock right now, okay? So where do you have these top 4 guys? Samson, Nick, Hottie, Derek. I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. But look, I'm going to wrap up the video right here. Check out BayouMuscle.com. Use code EP10 at checkout. Appreciate everyone supporting the channel thus far. 13 days until we see the best of the best go head-to-head on the biggest stage in bodybuilding. Get excited, you guys. But that's it for me in this video. Thank you guys for tuning in to EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.